Foods, I'm and today I welcome you guys back to a new episode. For today's video, we are going to discuss about Leverkusen's tactics in the game against Manchester City in the Champions League. So without any further ado, let's get started. So yeah, yesterday Leverkusen gained an important win in the Champions League against a very powerful team, Manchester City, who lately has been facing a downfall, and especially yesterday, it simply was not the night for them. Anyways, they played with kind of like their second team. There were mostly the substitutions that were playing yesterday because Guardiola was wanting to preserve the important players for the upcoming games. But even when the stars like Haaland came in, still Manchester City wasn't proving anything, and even those stars individually weren't proving much. And yeah, Leverkusen yesterday seemed extremely inspired and extremely spot on, and yeah, today we are going to discuss about their tactics. So first of all, I'm going to show you the formation that was on paper. The formation was a 3-4-2-1, and in reality they really played like that, but they played like that when they had possession. When they didn't have possession, they were playing with a back four. And yeah, they were playing with a back four, and there were different variations like formations like 4-4-2 or 4-3-3 or different variations like that in the midfield and in the attack, but the principle was the fact that when they were not having the possession, they were having 4 players in the defensive line. And basically their main strategy was the fact that when they were getting the possession, they would have a very timid gameplay style. Like they would pass in the defending line, in the back. They were making small passes, and generally these passes were between 4 players, the 3 defenders that you can see in the back, and also there was another player that would join them. It wasn't always the same player. They would just play with it, they would roll with it. We've seen Grimaldo dropping back for these passes, we've seen Tilvan dropping back for these passes. Okay, I have no idea how I managed to say Tilvan and to also not realize in the moment, but anyways, I meant Tilman. And they would do that, they would keep the tempo slow until they would spot the right moment to break in. And when they would speculate this moment, generally they would make a long pass towards a player in the attack, and generally these passes were across the flanks, and then that player would intercept the ball, he would start dribbling, maybe passing a bit with the other players in the attack, and eventually score, or at least try to score, at least try to shoot on target. That was basically the main strategy that I've noticed, and we can especially see that in minute 54 when the second goal is scored. Everything in that action starts from a long pass across the flanks intercepted by Maza, who then shoots, but Shik's deviates it perfectly with his head. And also, speaking about goals, let's talk about the first goal that was scored last night, which was Grimaldo's goal, which basically was scored thanks to Husanov and Stones. Grimaldo was really agile, he was firm during that action, while Husanov and Stones literally were delayed. Their reactions were extremely late. They were not paying attention. I don't know what they were doing, but anyways, they were delayed. And yeah, basically Husanov placed the ball directly for Grimaldo to score. And due to the fact that the game was going really well, Hjulmand didn't do many substitutions, he only did one. He took Kofane out and he placed Stella in. Basically a same position change. Also Kofane has already received a yellow card. And anyways, this substitution was done very late in the game, in minute 82, so yeah. Overall, it was a good game for Leverkusen. I really like their tactics because they weren't necessarily too complicated, but they were done for clever players, for players that know how to anticipate the game and how to speculate it and how to read the tempo of the game and how to read and interpret spaces. Also, we have to keep in mind the fact that City wasn't really in shape during this season so far, and they weren't the same City as we've seen 2 seasons ago or even last season. And also most of their stars were sitting on the bench during that game. But yeah, still it is an important win for Leverkusen. Still, Leverkusen really played really nicely and in a smart way. So yeah, all in all, it was a beautiful match. So we reached the end of this video analysis. So I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share it to your friends if you think that any of this information might be useful to them, comment down below any suggestion for me to improve and stuff like that, and subscribe to keep in tune with all of my uploads. Okay, you guys, bye!